Okay, so I'm just going to go over what you need for a strain gauge installation. First, of course, you need a strain gauge. We got ours from Intertechnology, as well as a bonding pad, tweezers, 400 grit sandpaper. I used 300 grit sandpaper to start with on this one, just because this was really rusted. But if your sample is cleaner, this will be fine. A tile that you can neutralize and clean for putting your strain gauges on, tape, and then in order of how you use them, isopropyl alcohol, 99% for degreasing the sample, M-Prep Neutralizer A, M-Prep, well, this is the conditioner and this is the neutralizer, M-Prep Neutralizer 5A. This balances the pH of the surface of your sample. Then we have the catalyst, which is M-Bond 200. And then we have the glue. Just the way that this bottle works, I also have a syringe. It's the easiest way to get the alcohol out. And then Kim wipes for wiping the sample. These are easy to get. We're going to start by degreasing the sample with 99% isopropyl alcohol. So we use quite a bit because it's wet sanding. So I'm just pulling a bunch of it into a syringe here. That should be enough for today. You can put liberal amounts on the sample. So this is 400 grit sandpaper. You want the surface to be really smooth. And once it looks quite clean, you can put a little bit of extra alcohol on. And then we use Kim wipes. You can fold a square a couple of times over and wipe across the sample. We wipe from one end to the other to try and stop contaminants from re-entering the cleaned area. I'll just do that one more time to make sure it's nice and clean. So that looks really nice. I'm just gonna wipe off the tile here. And I'll use the last bit of the alcohol to clean an area on the tile. I'll be using the tile later to put the strain gauge on. So the next step is to neutralize the sample. We start with M-Prep Conditioner A. And for this, you only need about 3 drops. More isn't a problem. It can get a little bit messy with how it likes to come out of the bottle. We use a chem wipe again, and this time fold it over to make a point and wipe the conditioner across the cleaned area. And then it can get unfolded and again wiped only once in the middle of the cleaned area. To finish neutralizing, we use M-Prep Neutralizer 5A. And again, this is about 3 drops in the middle of the clean area. We take a chem wipe again and fold it. And rub that over the cleaned area. And then wipe it off in a single stroke again. So the strain gauge only takes up a small portion of this area, but we clean a large area to make sure that there's nothing that will contaminate it. So now I'm going to align the strain gauge. I have 2 of them in here. I also have 2 soldering pads. We'll only put on 1. And the strain gauges are clean already. Just tip it out onto the clean tile and grab a soldering pad. So we want to line up the strain gauge and the soldering pad with tweezers and about a 1/16 of an inch gap between them. Make it as straight as possible. And then Indra Technology has a tape that they sell for installing strain gauges. So we'll grab about 4 inches of this tape. I might grab a new piece because it's stuck to itself. Oh no, that's okay. You hold it over the strain gauge, and when it's lined up, you can press down. And this just holds everything in place while you're installing it. So to get it off of the tile, you hold it at about a 30-degree angle and wiggle it slowly back and forth to pull the soldering pad and the strain gauge off the tile. Next, we're going to line it up over the sample. I just need to unfold the tape here. So we have the strain gauge and soldering pad. Twist this sideways so you can see. You hold it over the middle part of the cleaned area and try and get it centered on the sample. And push down and attach only one side. It can be folded back on itself. Now that we're ready to apply the adhesive, so to start, we have the catalyst. And this is the one you want to be the most careful of. It's bright blue in color, which is a good hint to be careful. We apply the catalyst like you would apply nail polish. So if you haven't done that, go and watch a video. But you need to wipe the catalyst on the bottle about 10 to 12 times because you want a very thin amount. Then we take the catalyst and with even strokes from the bottom of the strain gauge to the top of the soldering pad, we go across from left to right and we do about 4 strokes. And that will need to dry for about 30 seconds before we put on the glue. And the next part of this goes really fast. So the glue will get applied right on the connection of the tape and the sample, about 3 drops of the glue. And then right afterwards, the tape will be pulled over and lined up on the sample, and we'll push across it and then hold down with the thumb for about 2 minutes. The heat of the body helps to make the glue set. So I'm just gonna prep a chem wipe for pushing down on it because you don't want your finger to get stuck to the sample. Let me just fold it in quarters to make it thick enough. I'll put that to the side. And then this is the glue that we're going to be using. And the catalyst is dry now. So for this part, it's easier for me if the sample is turned the opposite way around. I'll lift up the tape. And put about 3 drops of glue right at the junction of the tape and the sample. Then you hold it over the sample and push down in one long stroke to the end. This gets rid of any excessive glue. You want a really thin layer of glue underneath your strain gauge. And then I just hold down for about a minute to help it set. If your hands are really cold, you might need to hold it for a little bit longer. Okay, so you leave your thumb on for around a minute. My hands are really cold, so I left it on for 2 minutes this time. It makes a big difference. I also sometimes use the palm of my hand because it's usually a bit warmer than your fingers. But at this point, the strain gauge should be attached. And pulling off the tape, everything should stay attached. If it doesn't, I've made a mistake, but it's the moment of truth. So usually peel back, straight back this time. Everything stayed on the sample. So we're good. And that's the finished strain gauge installation.